Right. So what happens typically is most agents, they call it a generalist, where basically they have one person does a little bit of everything. That I understand is because you start out as a one-man band operation, and then you grow and you hire your first person and you bring them in, and they're kind of doing the same thing you're doing right next to you, and you just kind of push work to them and they do their thing. The problem with that is that develops a very bad attitude, a very bad way of doing business, because things fall through the cracks. There's no systems, there's no process. So as you hire people, you just kind of shove work at them and then you hope they get it done. Having that system and process, which is what you guys teach, is so critical, because it allows for the agent to be able to identify the things that take up time in their office. For example, most agents don't realize, they say, I hate doing all this service, but they don't understand what that service is. Quantify it, specify it, segment that out of your agency, and then train somebody to do that specific. If you do that, those people will be the highest performing, because they understand exactly from beginning to end their process. But then you can also set expectations. Once you can set expectations, you know exactly if they're meeting those expectations or if they're not. So it doesn't matter if they're clocking in or clocking out, and how many hours they're doing. It's if they're doing the work, because you set expectations, you can quantify it.
Welcome to the Fix My Insurance Agency podcast. Each podcast will share the conversations, best practices, experiences, and influences that have generated over $1 billion in insurance premium. So sit back and let us help you fix your insurance agency. Hey guys, this is Billy Williams with the Fix My Insurance Agency podcast. Absolutely appreciate you being here. We're very excited to have our guy Ben on today from Agency VA. Now, I'm not going to take a lot of time. You guys know how I am. I like to jump right in and make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. So with that being said, Ben, tell us about Agency VA.
Yeah, so Agency VA has been around for close to 2 years. We've been very successful due to the fact that our agents that we work with are forward thinking and always looking to the future and how to improve their business. The VAs that we have across the world are, top performing. Their desire to please and to be successful and productive at everything they do has helped us tremendously. Of course, our trainers and the different technology that we use from our LMS, which is VA University and VA Vision, for tracking and productivity and screenshots and things like that, as well as security built into our system and our platform. So people can go in and grab a VA and within a few hours have somebody operational taking tasks for them and doing work on a stable platform that is secure and is data driven for productivity and such. And then, of course, they have access to our trainers and our different knowledge database for training and learning how to use different AMS systems and raters. So, it's actually been a wild ride for us this last couple months with the pandemic going on. It's been kind of crazy. We're actually still growing and we're seeing success. And I think that's because almost everybody now is becoming virtual, not just our assistants.
Right.
Before it was like everybody, they said a virtual assistant, what's that? And, we started trying to explain it and everything. And people would be kind of like, well, we started working from home with our company and then we moved into call centers. And now we're all back working from home, which is kind of ironic. Right. But the strength that we have is that we always had the platform for the work from home ability and the data security for our company. So we've actually been really blessed in that matter, that we've been able to, have that ability, that mode to go right back to work from home, where in the Philippines, they've actually closed off call centers entirely. And it's not even allowed to go into a call center. In Puerto Rico, we just have them working from home just because even though Puerto Rico has allowed call centers to stay operational, there really is no need to put them at risk if they can take the computers. We just had them take the computers from their desks, and they're just working from home now. So it ends up being a great thing, and they still have all the data security on the platform as far as making sure there's nothing like USB drive being able to plug in. Even certain websites are blocked. They get flag notices if they go into certain websites that we don't approve of. We're getting screenshots, we're getting productivity tracking to see, keystrokes, mouse movements, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of an amazing thing that we're already ready for this situation, but we're really been blessed and lucky in that sense of being able to have been in the right position for this type of transition.
Okay, so walk me through this journey. I'm an agency. I've got my processes. I want to find out what agency VA can do for me. So how does that whole process work?
Yeah, so typically what we do is we would schedule an introductory call. Before the introductory call, we do a strategy call. The strategy call is basically you sit down with one of our people and they talk to you and they try to understand what is your business process, where are you lagging or where are you stuck, where do you need the help? Because in our mind, we're not a replacement for the agent, neither for their staff, we're a support. We're intended to be a kind of like a steroid to put on your employees to help them be even more efficient. So by having a strategy call, we're able to identify those difficulties and those struggles that they might be having, whether it's just somebody to answer the phones, to do more of the day-to-day tasks that maybe you don't need somebody licensed to do, or maybe you don't need an expert that's been doing insurance for 20 years to take a payment or to go in and explain billing or things like that. And so as we identify those pain points in your agency, then we set up a process, we set up a system. Oftentimes they're actually asking us for help on what do you suggest in this situation, what do you suggest in that, and we're very happy and glad to do that. And we've seen hundreds of agencies, and so as we have now hundreds of clients, we've seen what works, what doesn't work, we've seen what's most successful. They all have in common, it's a system, it's a clearly thought out process. You can do it a million different ways and it can work a million different ways, but the most important thing, it has to be clearly defined, something you can write out and that can be given to somebody. It can't just be like a generalist type position where it's just like everybody does a little bit of everything, but then there's no real clearly thought out plan for how to do things. So that strategy call really helps to do that. Once we have that identified, we identify the systems, the processes that you use, we go into the software. So we'll talk about your AMS, we'll talk about your rater, we'll talk about your phone system, if you have a CRM, all those different things, and we help to identify how we would be using those, how the VA would be able to gain access, and we set those systems up. Once that's set up, we do an intro call. The intro call is basically you get introduced to your virtual assistant, you'll talk to them, get to know them, ask them questions, see if you like them as a person. Granted, one phone call isn't very long, but at least it's better than nothing. And we've already screened these people. We've already, out of the 50 people that we interview, we hire one. And we've already put them through our training programs, through our LMS, our learning management system, which is VA University. They're learning, they're training, they're understanding and learning how to use the different systems that most insurance agents do. They've gone through a very basic pre-licensing course. So they understand a lot about insurance already from the get-go as they're introduced to you, and you can kind of get an idea of who they are. Most of our VAs right now, in fact, have a lot of experience already working for insurance agencies, whether that's from doing customer service, renewal requests, quoting, it just depends on their experience, and you'll get to know that through their intro call. At that moment of that intro call, once the call's over, you can kind of be like, yeah, let's go ahead and move forward, or no, I don't want this person, I want to interview another person. No problem, we'll go ahead and set up another interview. Now, I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, they go with the first person that they interview, because we've already paired them with the best option for what the task that they're looking to complete, and then the necessity. For example, if you need somebody that's forward facing, talking to customers every day, we're going to look at accent, we're going to look at experience, being on the phone with customers. If you need somebody to do back office, certificates of insurance, renewal requotes, processing back office work, then we would need somebody that has more experience doing that. And so we will pair them with whoever is fitting your situation most and best, and that's basically who they go with. Once we have that understood and we made sure that the VA is good and the intro call went forward, we typically like to start within 3 to 5 days to the go live date. And so within those 3 to 5 days at the latest, we need logins, we need systems in place, we need everything going, so that within those 3 to 5 days in the live date, they actually start working and doing tasks for you. And we pair them with a trainer that can actually help them. So they have a team lead and a trainer that help them with any additional tasks, because often we have found that, for example, they might know how to do a certificate of insurance on EZlinks, but maybe you don't use EZlinks, maybe you use Hawksoft. So we have specialists that are trained already on how to use Hawksoft. And so if they get stuck on something or they need help with something, they can go back to our trainers and get help on how to do that, finish out that certificate. And I'm sure you understand there's different endorsements and things that go on certificates. Maybe they're not sure about something like that. So all of those kinds of things, we still help and we still continue to support our staff, while they've already been onboarded and they've already gone live with the client, so that there's not any concerns and issues. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't ever talk to your VA. In fact, the most successful clients are those who talk to the VA, but you hopefully aren't having those situations where they're always coming back to you and saying, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? Because we're able to provide that support for the base level of understanding. If you hire somebody off the street that has no understanding of anything, they can't do anything for a month to 2 months, because they don't even know how to log into a system, let alone how to navigate an AMS, let alone how to fill out a certificate of insurance, wherein most of our VAs can already do that from the live date, and they have a good understanding of a lot of those things. Now, will they be able to explain the difference between a hip and a gable roof? I doubt it, because it's very unique knowledge, and so they're not going to be experts in every situation, and you just can't expect that. Maybe if you get a platinum VA, which are licensed VAs, that's a different story altogether, but I'm talking about our basic silver and gold VAs, which are VAs out of the Philippines and out of Puerto Rico, who they have experience, but they're not licensed individuals. So you really, it does take a little bit of time to onboard, but typically within 2 weeks, they're about going and they're doing the work and they're completing tasks and things are going great.
That's better than most agents do. Most agents never even train their people. So the fact that you train their people and you have support to continue training their people, that's one of the biggest weaknesses in our agency, is that in our agency industry, agents will hire someone with an expectation that they're just going to pick it up, throw them into a seat, and then they fire them 6 months later, or the person quits 3 months later because they never had any support. They never had any training.
Yeah, and that's a good point. A lot of insurance agents, they say, well, just go on to the carrier page and do their training, or go on to the rater or the management systems and go on to YouTube and find their training and just do that. I will tell you, those are not real world experiences. And so we built out our VA University to explain real world experiences. How do you actually go in and apply a payment inside of Progressive's login? How do you go in and do a certificate of insurance inside of Hawksoft? How do you do, we actually have the real world, how do you do these things, not just a video presentation. And then we are sitting there holding their hand and we're helping them. So even if you might not have all the time in the world to sit there and hold their hand, we do. So we have people specifically assigned to do that, so that you can be certain that they're being taken care of and that the VA is doing their very best to continue the process.
Okay, next question I have, though, we know the who, we know the what they can do. When? Because are they on our time zone? Is this something that they can work during our business hours? How do your programs work?
Yeah, so we specifically request the VA to be able to work 9 to 5 Eastern or 9 to 5 Pacific. The idea is that they need to match the time zone of the client. And so that's a very, very important thing. That's taken right from the beginning of the strategy call. We identify the time zone and the amount of hours that you want to have. We have part-time VAs, which we have found a lot of clients like to start with part-time, which is 20 hours a week, and then you set that time zone, that time frame, I should say, from Monday through Friday, whether that's, let's say, 1 to 5 or 9 to 1, or whatever that time frame is that you want them to actually work. That's what we would do at that point. And what we have found is that We need to be available for your time because your time is very valuable. Our VAs, though, are willing to do that, and they love to do that because they understand the importance of fulfilling that time zone and being available for the client at that moment when there's most needful for them. Some clients, they even ask us to be in the late afternoon when their office is out because they want us to cover their phones at that time. It just depends on the customer. But in the Philippines, I mean, that's basically their midnight. So they're basically doing the graveyard shift. Well, they all are accustomed to the graveyard shift. I mean, that's a normal thing for them in the Philippines. In Puerto Rico, obviously, they're Eastern Standard Time, so that's not really a concern there.
Gotcha. So, our mentoring program and your program kind of work well together. You've been to our
Right.
workshops, you've seen what we do. In our programs, we teach step-by-step processes. Step by step, do this. What kind of problems are you seeing when agents don't have that step by step? I know you guys will help them develop it, but of course that takes so much more time because
Yeah.
now you're retraining the agent on how to run their agency. So how much faster is it when an agent comes to you prepared to say, this is the piece, this is the step, this is the action I want your VA to do, versus someone that you almost have to retrain on how to run their agency?
Right. So what happens typically is most agents, they call it a generalist, where basically they have one person does a little bit of everything. That I understand is because you start out as a one-man band operation, and then you grow and you hire your first person and you bring them in and they're kind of doing the same thing you're doing right next to you, and you just kind of push work to them and they do their thing. The problem with that is that develops a very bad attitude, a very bad way of doing business, because things fall through the cracks. There's no systems, there's no process. So as you hire people, you just kind of shove work at them and then you hope they get it done. Having that system and process, which is what you guys teach, is so critical because it allows for the agent to be able to identify the things that take up time in their office. For example, most agents don't realize, they say, I hate doing all this service, but they don't understand what that service is. Quantify it, specify it, segment that out of your agency, and then train somebody to do that specific. If you do that, those people will be the highest performing because they understand exactly from beginning to end their process. But then you can also set expectations. Once you can set expectations, you know exactly if they're meeting those expectations or if they're not. So it doesn't matter if they're clocking in or clocking out and how many hours they're doing. It's if they're doing the work because you set expectations, you can quantify it. And so that's how you check productivity. And so having that system and that process in place, whether it's follow-up for kind of like a client follow-up after you sell them, a thank you call, or whether it's a late pay call, or whether it's a billing issue or people calling in to file claims or getting certificates of insurance, or it's a renewal requote process or a reshop process. Having a process, having it known, and knowing how much time you're taking on those tasks is so critical for a business owner to understand. The challenge is, of course, most business owners work in their business, not on their business. And so being able for them to separate themselves, we give them that ability because they now can separate themselves and do that. And that's what you do. That's what you train them on, is how to separate themselves from being the sole and only producer in their agency, right, to be able to setting up a process. So, and that fits hand in hand. I mean, it's so much easier because when they don't know, it's like we're training a baby how to walk. I mean, it's just like, it's constant struggles, and oftentimes, their own difficulty and their failure to launch with a VA is 90% of the time goes right back to their failure to be able to operate a business. Just recently, we had a client who, they came to us, they said, we want to go with you. And then about a weekend, they said, never mind, I'm going to hire my own person. Then 2 weeks back, they came back and said, never mind, that person quit after 2 weeks. And then they came to us. And I mean, we were so worried that we were going to have a bad situation because they were all over the place. I mean, they had different ways of doing everything. And we put a trainer on to make sure that they understood their process before we even put them with a VA, because we just didn't want to have a bad experience, and we wanted to make sure that we did our very best to help them understand the process, the system, and understand that you can't just grab somebody, shove work at them, and say go, because every company is different, every person is different, every agency owner does things differently. So it's just impossible to know.
Good, 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 good. So, of course, everyone wants to know the price. Now, I know you have different packages, so can you kind of go over that with us a little bit?
Yeah, so we have a various different packages. The most recent one that we've started working on a lot is our VA on demand. Our VA on demand is just a basic $250, and you just send us tasks, and we do the tasks for you, and then we send them back to you completed. And then we just charge you per transaction. A lot of people seem to like that because it's a lot less risky at the beginning. I will tell you, it's going to cost you more than just getting a regular VA, whether it's part-time or full-time. Part-time VA, a part-time VA, you're looking at $14.99 for a month. That's 20 hours a week, and they're just doing the work and getting stuff done for you. And then the prices go up from there depending on if you're looking to do, a gold VA or a platinum VA. And if you guys want more pricing, because it gets kind of into the nitty gritty, you reach out to us. Of course, we are offering discounts, and being part of Billy Williams' organization, you get discounts as well. So that's always very important to mention to us when you're reaching out to us. We're willing to work, whether you have a small budget to allocate or whether you have a need to replace, 2 staff on your team and you need 2 full-time people. We can do that as well. It just depends. It will be much more cost effective to go in and hire, a full VA from us, as well as if you take into consideration when you hire regular staff in your area. Right now it's almost impossible, but we have capability still right now, and we have availability of VAs, which is going quick because we have a lot of clients reaching out to us. So
Right.
if it's something that you're interested, we always suggest move fast, start to get information, even if you're a month out, because that allows us to plan better and to know and understand this person is looking for somebody, they're a month out, but these are the things they're looking for. We can make sure that our people are already trading on your systems and your processes before, even a month before you're going to start. So those are things
Right.
that we love to do.
One of the things that agents have to understand is the opportunity cost. So when I say opportunity cost, a lot of agents go, "Oh my God, $1,500, Billy, for a VA, and I'm not really sure what to do." But if you hired someone, you're probably going to pay them much more than $1,500 a month. Then you're going to take 2 months to get them up and running. That's if you have a training program. If you don't have a training program, it could take 6 months for these people to even really start covering their desk, covering the cost of their desk. You know what I mean? Then you also look at how many sales are you losing because your salespeople are quagmired in admin that they shouldn't be doing anyway. You heard me teach many times that admin is the quicksand that destroys sales, prospecting, and productivity in an agency. And that's not to say that your people who are sales can't do admin, they just shouldn't do admin. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so important to divide up that agency. We look at agency from a sales, service, retention, and admin division. So I don't consider admin and service the same thing. Service for me is, are you client facing? Are you talking? Are you doing whatever? But all that little stuff, certificates of insurance and all that stuff that people throw under service, that's admin. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is why it's so important that if you're going to use a VA, guys, that you understand the different roles. But where I see the biggest use in VAs, where our agencies see the biggest use in VAs, is on our retention side and on our service side. On our service side, on our retention side, and definitely our admin side. But
Yeah.
the retention piece is important. It's huge. And it's going to become even more important after the pandemic. There are going to be people who have never been laid on a bill in their life that now got their salaries got cut in half. They're still trying to pay their mortgage. They're still trying to pay everything else. and now insurance is going to be that squeaky wheel. Well, if we don't have processes, if we don't have people making those phone calls, if we don't have, things that are automated that are reaching out, you're not going to be the squeaky wheel. And let's face it, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And that's not to say we're just calling just to get the money, because we're calling to protect our customers. But our customers a lot of times are like babies. They don't know, don't run in the street. They don't know wear a hat when you go outside in the cold. So us as insurance agents, we have to use our reviews and our retention process and all of our different things that we do to teach customers what is in their best effort. You'll have a customer that'll want to cancel a $400 auto policy and then go out and get a $50,000 wreck. And so it's so important that we use our VAs and our staff to make sure, like I said, on our retention piece, our sales piece, our prospecting. So I'm a big fan of VAs. I'm a big fan of agency VA. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of every VA program out there. I've looked at all of them. I've researched all of them. And as you well know, you're the only one that I let become part of the Fix My Insurance Agency program. You're the only one. And I've had several reach out to me, but when I looked at their program, I didn't like the feel. I didn't like the culture. I didn't like what it was all about. And that's not to dog them out. They're right for somebody else. But my reputation, the way we train, everything we do at Inspire Nation and Fix My Insurance Agency is top notch. I lay awake, 20 hours a day making sure that we're the best of the best. So I want to make sure that anyone that we utilize is the best of the best. So that's why you guys are part of our program. And for that, I'm very appreciative.
Well, thank you. Really appreciate that. We appreciate the kind words, of course. And, we love being a part of your company, because we know that the people that come from your training academy are people that know what they're doing. And they're the greatest customers that we have, because they are understanding processes, they're understanding systems. And it's easy for them to send over, hey, this is our system and our process for this. This is our system and our process for this. And so we love that ability to be able to work with them. And, we always have that win-win mentality where it has to be a win for both sides, for both us and you. And so if things aren't working out for whatever the reason, but if we're still trying because you want to make it work, we will too. We will make it work. And so that's obviously our greatest desire, is to be successful with our client, and not just for us to be successful, because obviously there's no longevity path if it's only a one-sided thing. So
absolutely. So what kind of ongoing support, training, service do you give to the folks that come on with you?
Yeah, and so this is something that's incredible, and very few of our clients have taken this up, which is that we will build your system and process, and we will create a module on our VA University for your system and your process. So once you have a VA, and let's say you finally identify and figured out, you finally went and did those video recordings of your system and your process that you were waiting weeks and weeks, that you had been told a long time ago to make your video recording. And we can upload those, and we can actually make a module inside of our LMS, our VA University, so that your VA can, any additional VAs can actually be trained on that process. And so you're able to have your own courses within our systems. And because your VA is already working, if you add additional VAs, the VAs already know how to do the process and the system. And if we're made aware, I'm going to add another VA in a month, excellent, we start having them train on that. So adding VAs, very easy process, very simple. Most of our customers add additional VAs. And we're regularly getting 2 to 3 VA requests, every week from one customer. And so this is something that's great for us, which we love, because it makes the training and the implementation process so much easier. Now, we also give access to our VA University to our regular customers. So if they want to continue to train them on additional tasks, because maybe they start with one simple task and then they add on additional tasks, they always have access to our VA University and trainers. So typically if they say, all right, I have them doing some back office stuff, I want them to start receiving the inbound calls on my phone tree from from the mortgagee companies. Okay, excellent. So then what we do is we put them with our trainer that can show them how to answer inbound calls from the mortgagees, and they can actually go in and know what information to collect and what to do in order to process those additional insured endorsements or mortgagee clause endorsements or whatever it is that you're having them do. And then, of course, the number one thing which we give access to is our VA Vision program, our software, which is basically a way to track productivity on a regular basis. And we check those. We actually have supervisors that check the productivity of your VA every day. And so they know if productivity is falling below 20%, 10%, that doesn't mean that the VA is not working. Typically, what we've found is that means that the VA is not getting enough work. Meaning it's not enough work is being assigned to them. And so at that point, what we do is we go back to the customer and with Mr. Agency, and I say, hey, Mr. Agency or Mrs. Agency, we are not getting enough work. We need to get additional tasks from you. We need to get additional work from you because we're finding the VA is not getting enough work from you. And so at that point, we actually go on and take on attempt to take on additional tasks from their agency, and we set trainers to make sure that the VA can actually do those tasks and can continue that process and watch that productivity go right back up. As well, with each of our clients, they get access to our VA Vision software. They log in through our website and they can see screenshots, daily productivity, and a general summary of the work that's been completed by their VA on a regular basis. So all of that's available to our clients on a regular basis as they work with us continuously. Wow. And then we do gamification. We do things to improve morale with our team. We do events, we do parties. So our VAs, you can expect them, even if you're not sitting there doing all of those things because they're virtual, we are. And so we're making sure that they're properly motivated, they're having a good time, and they love going to work each day. So all of those things are things that we strive to do every day for our team.
Wow. Well, you know, we know more about your products, your services, your costs. I mean, you've been very open and transparent, so we appreciate that. Now I want to know more about you. Okay. What caused you? You know, because most of the time when people do business, it's because they either saw a phenomenal opportunity or they got kicked in the ass and they said, I got to figure out how to keep from getting kicked in the ass doing this. So what caused you to start Agency VA, to develop it?
Yeah, so we actually, a friend of mine, I'm sure you guys know Wesley Anderson. He's one of my business partners, and you know, he had an agency and he was using VAs, and he saw so much success with VAs. You know, he reached out to me, and we actually started hiring VAs and making them available to other people, as other people were requesting on a regular basis to be able to use the VAs. And so we started implementing systems and processes. And of course, one of the things that the challenges that we found were a lot of challenges that the average insurance agency owner didn't want to incur and didn't have time to resolve if they did it themselves, such as, you know, onboarding a VA, interviewing, hiring. And so I went in and I started setting up the structure, the systems and the processes in place to grow the company and to build it, and especially the software. I mean, the VA Vision programs, the inbound logic form, which we haven't even spoke about, the inbound logic form, which is basically a system that I created, which makes it so that a virtual assistant can actually answer your phone and has a custom script for your agency. So from day one, they could be answering your phone, knowing what kinds of questions to ask, because it's a logic-based form. So depending on the response from the customer, they can ask the question and they can respond back. So all of those things were things that I created and that we built as a company to be able to, you know, make it easier for the average agent to be able to hire on that staff. And so we saw a need and we resolved the need, but then we also resolved all of the other pesky problems that typically come with having a virtual assistant. And that's what we continue to strive for on a regular basis.
Excellent. Why did you choose the Philippines and Puerto Rico over, say, you know, the Middle Eastern or whatever? What made you decide to go that route?
A big part of that is the accent. In the Philippines, you'd be surprised. Almost I don't know exactly, but I would say it's pretty high percentage of Fortune 500 companies that have staff based out of the Philippines nowadays. And that is because their accent is very minor. you can actually, oftentimes, depending on the company, they can get away with you not even realizing that you're speaking to somebody out of the Philippines. And so these individuals have very good accents. They have very high technical aptitude, wherein they can learn and understand things very well. The currency conversion is very favorable to the Philippines, so we get a great bang for our buck. And then, of course, in Puerto Rico, because we needed people who were Americans. You know, they're U.S. citizens. They speak both English and Spanish. They're fluent, very well-educated individuals there. And so you'll find that a lot of these people have bachelor's and master's degrees. They're very desirous for a job. Unemployment in Puerto Rico is through the roof. And so our ability to provide help to those people, which are very great people, has been something that's been incredible for us.
Good, good. So now, what about you? So what book are you currently reading? Because I know leaders are readers. What book are you currently reading?
So I'm actually reading two different books right now. It depends on the situation, but I've been reading the E-Myth again. One of my business partners asked me to reread it, and so I've been reading the E-Myth, which is, you know, a really interesting book. I like it because it helps you to really position yourself as a business owner and not get stuck in the daily grind. And, you know, find a way to enjoy what you do, but also understand how to run a business and not work in a business, and really separate those processes and procedures. And so I like that book, but I don't read it. I don't read it like from beginning to end every day. It's more of a study. And so it's kind of like something that you have to really read with a pen and paper and be jotting things down. So I highly recommend the E-Myth to those who haven't read it. And then for fun, when I just want a time to relax, I read another book called A Short History of Nearly Everything. And that one I really like. It's a fun book to listen to when you're laying in bed or when you're doing nothing and you just want to kind of listen to, you know, history. I love history, so I love reading history books. That's kind of my pastime before I go to bed, as I listen to history books. So that's one I really enjoy. That one's really interesting because it goes from, you know, Neanderthal times to today's to modern times, and it goes into every aspect of society and a scientific discovery and all kinds of things. So that's stuff I like.
Good. Well, I'm going to shoot you over a copy of my book, How to Build a $10 Million Insurance Agency, since you like studying, you know, what it takes to really maximize something. So I'll get you over a copy of that book as well. So what was the latest mobile app you downloaded on your phone?
The latest mobile app. Okay, hold on. I had just downloaded TikTok.
That's going to make you some money.
I just downloaded TikTok, which is, I'm sure you guys, if you guys haven't heard of it, it's basically a video software. It's another similar to social media, but it's intended to be more for fun. And it has lots of short recordings and things. I'm not very entertainment quality, you could say. So I'm not going to be publishing any, you know, entertainment quality.
I'm not going to see any dance videos of you out there on TikTok.
You know, I mean, maybe I like to dance salsa, so maybe I'll record a salsa video one of these days and throw it up on TikTok. But I got you. I haven't planned that so far. Yeah. Okay.
So what business app or what personal development app have you downloaded recently?
Sure. You know, I've been using most of my apps for so long. As far as business development, I haven't really changed that much. I would say probably
one of the one you love the most of all the different apps.
I would say probably that I love the most. I really like Outlook Mobile. I mean, I'm on that thing like every day. I mean, and you discover new features and things that they have. Like I recently discovered a poll feature on Outlook. So you can send a poll for meeting requests, because oftentimes, you know, everybody's working from home now. So if you need to do a schedule in a meeting, instead of sending a calendar invite and then everybody declining and reproposing and declining and reproposing, you can send it to 10 different people and put on there a poll. And then it will actually allow you to be able to schedule which time everybody votes most likely, and then that's the one you go with. So that's a recent one that I like a lot.
Okay, yeah. My two favorite ones that I use are LinkedIn. You know, we were talking about that earlier. I live
Yep.
on LinkedIn. My kids know to hit me up on LinkedIn if they really want to get in contact with me, you know. And then I
Yeah.
love this. I love this. You know, I'm a finance guy. So Stash. Have you heard of Stash?
No, I haven't.
Okay, Stash is an app that allows you to create instant savings. You can have a certain amount of money withdrawn from your account every week, every 2 weeks, whatever you choose. It also will do your extra change. So when you buy something, let's say it's, I don't know, 9.57, you can say, hey, put that other 43 cents into this account. And so it builds up money over time, but it also allows me to invest. So I can go in and choose stocks like Walmart, whatever, and actually buy those stocks right there on my phone without an advisor fee, without anything like that. So Stash is an awesome app. Okay, it's great for
Wow.
wealth building. That's what you use it for. You use it to help build wealth. So excellent. Anything you want to end with? I know we need your contact information so we know how to get in touch with agency VA, anything like that. Anything else you want to share with the listeners that are here that can help them in their agency or help them with the VA transition or just help them overall as a person? What do you want to share with us?
You know, the biggest thing that I would say is if you can't write down the way your company operates on a piece of paper and be able to explain processes and write it down and clearly thought out how you want those things done, then you got some work to do. And so being able to write out your processes, write out your systems, that's going to be critical for you to have it clear in your head, for your staff to have it clear. And then if you go to get virtual assistants and things, to have it clear for them to understand and know how it should be done. So all of those things are things that need to be clearly understood and thought out and followed. And so that's the only thing I would say. And if you guys want to schedule a strategy call, you want to just talk about how it could be implemented in your company. And if you want tips on, different processes and the best way of doing things, and you just want to do a strategy call with us, feel free to give us a call, or you can jump on our website, agencyva.com. You can also call our company, 801-590-7477.
Can
And
you
you
say
can,
that again? Can you slow that
yeah,
down and say
for
that
sure.
again?
It's 801-590-7477. And that's if you want to just talk to somebody right away. Or if you want to schedule something, just go to our website, agencyva.com, and you should be able to schedule a call, request information, all through our company page as well.
Okay. Guys, if you are out here and you're struggling or you just want to get better, you don't even have to be struggling, you just want to get better. I'm telling you, if you take Inspire Nation Business Mentoring and all the years and 16 plus years of us doing this and building almost $1 billion book of business in 16 years, our best practices, our strategies, our what we do, all of our processes that are written out step by step by step, and then you blend that with agency VA and how they can take those specific steps and those specific processes and say, let's offload this to agency VA. Let's send this over to them. Yeah, there are 12 steps in this process, but 6 of these can be outsourced to agency VA, which is now freeing the staff up to take these 6 that are left and produce more revenue. If that's what you guys are trying to do, I'm telling you, between Inspire Nation Business Mentoring and between agency VA, that partnership, that understanding of what it truly takes to run an insurance agency is amazing. Okay, so look at either one of our programs. For us, real simple, go to inspireanation.org, www.inspireanation.org. And agency VA, go to agencyva.com. Is that right?
Yep.
www.agencyva.com. And
Yep.
we'll be more than happy to help you. Ben, thank you so much for being on the video podcast today. I appreciate it. I think agents have a much better understanding because you were so elegant in the way you explained everything and so precise and clear. They have a much better understanding of how to use your product and service and a much better understanding of what they need to do to prepare to use your product and service. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.